Racecraft TV welcomes you to the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series for tonight's NRE Power Systems Clash from the virtual Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. Glad to have you along for the ride, everybody. Jacob Hitz here with you. Ian Fisher alongside Zach Johnson, our producer for tonight. Ian will be along with us the rest of the season, and we'll have a rotating group. Kenneth Bueno, Joshua Lee, they'll be in the booth to take you through the rest of the season when we come back in 2 weeks here again to Daytona. But tonight, it's all about the Clash. 50 laps on the board. And, you know, compared to the race a year ago, Adam Newbert kicked the season off with the win in the Clash this year. But things are pretty different this time around, Ian.
Yeah, different indeed. We have a whole new group of drivers in this field, so it's going to be really interesting to see which driver comes out on top tonight and kicks their 2022 Season 5 series off with a win here tonight at the Clash. It's really going to give you a lot of momentum going into our first points-paying race of the season here again at Daytona on July 8th.
They're doing open qualifying right now at Daytona, and they've kind of struggled to keep defenders on it a little bit. Hopefully not a precursor to what we'll see later on tonight, as they only have about 15 seconds left to get a lap in or start a lap. 33 drivers in the field, make it 34, and 33 drivers have taken a time or have completed a lap. 31 have taken a time. A couple couldn't make it around without hitting a couple of things, and one driver did not get on track at all. So that's it for qualifying, and that'll wrap up here in just a couple of moments. How about our series champion from a season ago, Chris Cinnamon? Looks like he's going to be P9 here once we start this thing off. Got to be somebody to keep an eye on.
Yeah, you got to think that Chris Cinnamon is looking to repeat this year, and what better way to start that repeat season by getting a win here tonight at the Clash. This is, again, not a points-paying race for these drivers. This is a little bit more bragging rights, but there are some playoff points up for grabs here tonight. There's going to be a total of 5 all the way down to 1 playoff point for our top 5 finishers tonight, and a little bit of cash involved as well, Jacob, for these drivers tonight. So you got to think that all these drivers are trying to at least get on the podium spot and take home a little bit of cheddar tonight here from Daytona.
Got to keep in mind as well that Chris Cinnamon had 1 win last season. It came here at Daytona International Speedway, race number 13 on the season. His one and only win, 2 races, not even 1 race before the playoffs started, and went on to win the championship with just 1 win. Pretty remarkable for Cinnamon. We'll see how he can do tonight. Qualifying is done. Let's take a look at our starting grid for tonight's race. Starting on pole, Derek Kilgore with a 47.307. Eric Zimmerman will line up along the outside. Then it's Joey Doucette, Christopher Blanchard in row number 2, Ed Osborne and Adam Newbert back there in row number 3. There we go, now we're catching up. Ted Wade and Keith Bradley in 7th and 8th, rounding out the top 10. The former champ, Chris Cinnamon and Taylor Peacock.
In row 6, rolling off in the 11th position, we have Jeffrey Sickles and Justin Lumpkin in the 12th position. Going back to row number 7, we're going to have James Haney and Tony Smith in the 51 car. Row 8, we have Tyler Dittmer and Brady LaBeouf in row number 8. We have Raul Meza at P17 and Matt Rudder in P18 for row number 9. Going back farther for the field, Devin Painter is going to be in the 9th position, and wrapping out the top 20 is going to be Brian Abbott in the 82 truck. James Morris. Yep,
Cody Knott back there in row number 11. Michael McKinnon, Tim Hammond in row number 12. Jonathan Munda, Keith Haney in row 13. And Zach Hartwick and Jose Luis Rivera in 28th. Lucas Whitehead and Dana Shepard back in row number 15. And the final 4, Huck Wigington, Brandon Bullock, Jason Morales, and Torrey Thompson. Shotgun on the field of 34 here from Daytona. And looks like we've had, okay, so Michael McKinnon has fallen out of the session. So that could be a problem. And looks like we have a couple that did not get out onto the racetrack in time. Oh, maybe. I think we're all good. Other than McKinnon, Whitehead and Shepard just came in right at the last second. So everybody's on the racetrack and good to go. They'll do the one pace lap behind the pace truck, and then we'll get rolling here from Daytona.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that a few drivers may have elected to start from the pits, Jacob. That's kind of a bold strategy here at Daytona International Speedway. Obviously, you don't want to lose that draft pack if you can. Looking at the weather conditions, partly cloudy here at Daytona International Speedway. 66 degrees Fahrenheit, so a nice, cool racing surface for these NASRA trucks tonight. Should be able to get plenty of grip on the tires, and hopefully you don't have to worry about too much of these trucks getting loose tonight and causing the big one, as so common here on restrictor plate racing tracks and here at the Daytona International Speedway, Jacob.
75% fuel in these race trucks, so that'll just add another element of strategy into this thing, because they're not going to get them full of fuel. They can't make it the whole way even if they did have 100%, but that 75 just adds another element of strategy into tonight's race. Field comes around through 3 and 4 by the pace truck. He'll pull off onto pit road, and we will get the clash underway here from Daytona. It's Derek Kilgore and Eric Zimmerman that'll be on the front row for the start of the season. And the Daytona Clash presented by NRE Power Systems. Pace truck is on pit road. Glad you're watching. Let's have some fun. Derek Kilgore leads us down to the green flag. We're racing. Joey Doucette will lead him to the flag and will lead lap number 1. Had a good half a dozen trucks or so that decided to pull down on the back straightaway and slow up. Torrey Thompson has a black flag. He just came onto pit road to serve his penalty, presumably on the restart. Nonetheless, they're double wide the whole way through off turn 2.
Wide off turn 2, and really just good job by all these drivers so far to keep it clean. We were watching a little bit of the open qualifying session, and there was a few wrecks going on there. Obviously, in the qualifying session, the drivers are trying to get the best time they can, so maybe being a little bit aggressive, but they know right here, lap 2 of 50, there's still a long way to go in this relatively short race here for Daytona, but they want to keep it clean, try to settle into a draft pack, and try to move their way up the field, Jacob.
Doucette on the inside, Christopher Blanchard on the outside. Doucette leads the lap at the line, but that outside line is surging. Here comes the 19 with help from Newbert, who won this race a season ago in that 4 truck. Got the 42 of Ed Osborne down on the inside, pushing Doucette.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what line ends up being the preferred line here. You know, normally in Daytona International Speedway, in real life, you usually see that top line come to life pretty early, and then you kind of see the choo-choo train around the racetrack, but still too wide coming all the way through the field, almost all the way through the field as you ride on board here with Taylor Peacock in the 81 truck. And you can see just how close these trucks are to each other, bumper to bumper racing, 2-3 wide. It's what we're going to see all night long here at Daytona.
And outside line trying to get a little push comes the shove there with the 19 and the 4. That inside line a little more organized, at least in the top 3. There's a little bit of a gap now before we get back to our pole sitter and Derek Kilgore, who got shuffled out of the deck. He's now 4th on that inside line as they work their way down the back stretch once again.
Yeah, and the top 20 trucks here up in the front have formed up nicely and formed a little group draft pack here to get this race started. But as we look back farther through the field, you can see that some of those guys farther back in the pack are kind of trying to split up, create their own group, maybe miss the big one up here at the front and try to get out to a lead, or possibly just trying to play a little bit of strategy here. Very important at Daytona International Speedway to pit as a group. So we're starting to see, looks like two groups forming out through the field.
And that's part of what we see at plate racing is half the pack pushing toward the front, half the pack hanging back just in case of the big accident. That's what they're all fearing by making that second pack, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, especially if they somehow get to go caution free and then they wind up in green flag pit stops and they don't have a lot of help.
Well, that's the double-edged sword of that strategy, isn't it, Jacob? Is you can sit back and try to form that second pack, but like you said, if this race goes green flag the entire time, which I don't think it will, but if this race goes green the entire way, then yeah, you've kind of sucked yourself back in the pack there, and it's really hard to make positions and incredibly hard to make moves through the double-wide racing we see here for the 20 to 25 cars.
Down to the stripe they come. Still Joey Doucette out in front. I believe he's led every single lap so far tonight in this race. 45 laps left in this one as they make their way through 1 and 2. No stages, just a pure 50 laps tonight to see who can capture the flag first. They're off turn 2. Doucette clear, and now he's going to pull to the bottom. He's going to drop to the back. He had enough fun leading.
Yeah, I don't know if he had enough fun leading or if he got it like a little bit of a tap from the back here, but that's going to freight train him all the way back. And you can see once you lose that draft pack, just how quickly you fall all the way back. It looks like he's going to fall back and hook up with that second group and try to make his way back up to the front. But yeah, that could have been just a decision of, hey guys, a little bit too hot for me up here right now. You guys go have fun and race it out, and I'll see you at the end of the race.
So Blanchard pulls down. He takes over the lead, but at the line, Newbert beats him out as he hangs on up on that high side and will try and take the push from Justin Lumpkin to the front. He's clear of the 19 going into turn number 1, but that bottom side surges back.
The bottom side surges back, but the top line is the way that you keep all this momentum round up in these race trucks, usually in the qualifying session. If it's an open qualifying session, as we see more cars drop out of the pack here towards the back of the field, and we see a move down by the 4 and the 87 now to get in front of this pack. You don't want to get too far out in front of the pack, though, because the rest of the pack will come back and freight train you all the way back into the more positions if you do that. So maybe a little bit of brake dragging here from Newbert, but he knows what he's doing. He was last year's winner here at Daytona for our clash and looking to repeat again to this year.
Well, I've got a theory now. Looking at the fuel window is 23 to 24 laps, so they would not traditionally be able to make it to the end on just one stop. You've had the leaders pull off and go to the back of the pack, perhaps trying to save some fuel in the draft. When you're leading the charge, you're not saving fuel because you're full throttle all the way around. When you're in the draft, you're lifting, you're grabbing the brake, you're doing everything you can to save as much fuel as possible. You're not full throttle. I think that's the strategy play going on with the guys up at the front to keep dropping to the back.
And that's what's so fascinating about plate track racing here at Daytona and Talladega is only 8 laps into it, and we're starting to see some of those fuel strategies come onto a head here. And we see a little bit of that top line there, maybe a little bit disorganized. I thought they were going to go 3 wide for a second there, but it's a little bit too early to do that, in my opinion. Here, you want to just get into 1 or 2 lines and then just find your way up to the front, as we see now that top line starting to fall apart and the bottom line really starting to get formed up here. So we'll see what happens to that top line as we go deeper into this race.
Adam Newbert remains out in front. That 51, Tony Smith trying to make that outside line roll. He's got some help just behind by Eric Zimmerman in that 94. Tough to read the numbers on the side of that thing, but they're going to continue to fall back, and Newbert leads them through 3.
And starting a little bit of lap traffic here. That was the car that, I forget the number of the car, but the number of the car that had a black flag earlier in this race is now being caught by the rest of this pack. So it'll be interesting to see what our leaders do to navigate around this lap car. It looks like he's going to stay to the high side, but you got to think that he wants to get somewhere into this pack, Jacob. Into the wall.
Oh, I can't. Oh, no, he bounces off. Bounces off a couple of trucks. They keep it straight. He's still in the outside wall. Torrey Thompson, look out. Truck still trying to come by after he bounced it off the outside wall half a dozen times, made contact with a number of drivers up at the front of the field, off the pace, going 140 mile an hour, and finally everybody is by him. A lot of damage on both sides of that 96.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for the 96 truck. He was trying to find a way to squeeze himself back into line there, and you can tell he's having trouble keeping the car on the racetrack. Fortunately for him, there is one faster pair in this race and 2 sets of tires, so we'll probably see him make the dive to pit road here, get that faster pair, and possibly get some tires, but that's not going to help. Actually, he's going to stay out, so we're going to stay out. He's going to keep going. We're going to stay green here. I'm actually quite surprised the yellow flag didn't come out there, Jacob, but a great job by the rest of the field to keep it all together relatively intact, but that really splits us up in the 9 spot.
One car around. Yep, Brady LaBeouf around to the inside wall. No caution because he's off the racing surface. Does not hit the inside wall, but he got close to it. He has to throw it in reverse and get it going straight. Still no caution. We're still green up at the front.
That's really unfortunate for Brady LaBeouf. You got to think that's not the way he wanted to start out his season, but we're up here again at the back of the pack. This 2-wide pack still going strong. Neubert staying out here in the lead, and I'm interested to see what Neubert will do here. Jacob, you mentioned it. Once you're out in the front of the pack, you're wide open, you're using the most fuel. Will he drop back in the pack, or does he want to lead as many laps as he possibly can here in this first stint of this race?
We'll have to find out if he feels like saving fuel on this fuel run is pertinent enough, or if he's just going to do it all at the very end of the race. 11 laps are complete here at Daytona, and the 4 of Adam Neubert remains out in front. You've got Tony Smith up on the high side trying to make that outside line work, but he hasn't been able to get by that 87 of Justin Lumpkin.
It looks like now the 51 car and the high line trying to get a little bit of momentum there. You can see a little bit of a push from the high side there. And the one thing that lap car did was kind of shuffle this pack up a little bit. That top pack was, 20, 25 trucks. Now we're down to about 15. And the second pack has fallen way back from this first pack, almost 3 seconds now from this first pack. So going to be really interesting to see what that second pack will do. Will they short pit? Will they try to stay out and regain the lead? It's anybody's guess right now, as the 51 now makes a dive to the bottom. He'll inherit the race lead. That's Smith there in the 51 truck, and let's see what the top side will do here. He made that move after getting a push from the top side down to the bottom, and now leads this race.
Well, I think we saw that big divide in packs come when that 96 of Torrey Thompson had his moment up at the front of the field and just caused everybody to check up. But everybody rolling now. Tony Smith now out in front here from Daytona as we are approaching about 10 laps away from the window being open to pit to try and make it the distance on fuel.
And one of my favorite things about plate racing too is not only do you have to stay in the draft pack while you're on the racetrack, but you got to pit as a group too. So it's always exciting to see these cars dive down on the pit road together, who goes with each other, who stays out on the racetrack. And it's so hard to get these race trucks slowed down from almost 185, 190 miles an hour all the way down to pit road speed at 65 miles an hour. And we have trouble again. This will probably bring out the yellow flag.
Kilgore to the inside wall. Hammond goes to pit road. So does Jose Luis Rivera. Still no caution. Your pole sitter, Derek Kilgore, in trouble after contact up on the outside of the racetrack involving the 15. That's not the 15. Who is that? The night? No. I'm blind. Who in the world is that up there?
I don't know. I can't see very well either. I don't have my glasses on, Jacob, so I can't quite see right now. The 11 truck with Derek Kilgore.
15. Got it. It's the 15 driving the 69, Jonathan Munda, that made contact with Jose Luis Rivera that caused that whole incident. But again, we stay green here.
Yeah, and that kind of surprises me. The race control directors are letting these guys race here, as we're going to see a little bit of what happened here. We're going to get a replay of this incident, and looks like one of the trucks there just got loose and kind of tapped the wall and came down on the field, and it was just an accordion effect after that. The 11 of Kilgore caught in that, and a few other trucks as well, Jacob.
Kilgore just came off pit road. He's down on the apron, 1 lap down. He has used his faster pair. as he will not be in the lead pack or even the secondary pack. As up at the front now, it's Tony Smith in the 51, and then on the outside, Lucas Whitehead, who has some damage on the back end of that race truck in the 88, trying to lead that outside line around.
Yeah, and the outside line now is having a little bit of trouble forming, and you can have a little bit of damage on your truck. You just can't lead this race with a little bit of damage on your truck. Unfortunately, you can kind of hide some of that damage in the aero pack, but once you get out in front, you just start losing time. So really going to be a strategy call here. Is he going to stay out, or is he going to drop down and get that faster pair? If I was him right now, I got to stay out on the racetrack and keep all this track position that I possibly can, because if I'm one of these drivers, I'm not counting on a yellow at this point. We haven't seen a yellow for multiple incidents so far, Jacob. So I don't know if we're just going to go green the entire time and see what happens, but 2 quite large incidents we've seen so far, and no caution has been thrown. So these race directors really letting the guys race tonight.
Yeah, surprised that we have yet to see a caution flag. Lap traffic ahead here for the leaders. Whoa, and there goes the leader! Around goes Smith! He collects the 88, the 99, upside down goes Tony Smith in the tri-oval. Now the caution's out. A huge crash up at the front. They are still wrecking. Ted Wade gets a piece. Devin Painter involved. The 87, Justin Lumpkin around. And the 51 of Tony Smith goes on his lid, and we're under caution for the first time in the clash.
And that's going to be heartbreaking for Tony Smith. He was doing such a good job leading this race, and just looked like tagged by the second car in the pack there, and just started a chain reaction. It's so hard to see around all these different trucks at Daytona, and that's just a byproduct of restrictor plate racing. Is you get turned like that in front of the entire field, and the entire field has nowhere to go.
Let's take a look at the replay to see what brought out this first caution flag. Coming off of turn number 4. Just looks like a little bit of side drafting gone wrong, maybe. Here's the replay. Watch that 88. Going to come down the racetrack and just get into the back of the 51 and turn him around. And that just whipsaws the 99 back down to the inside. There you see the 33, Matt Rudder, compiling in and flip that 51 up on its lid. Another car, or another truck involved. Cody Knott in the 26 got a piece of it.
Oh, man, and they just keep piling in the 33, yeah. And then we're going to see another truck come down here. I believe it was the 2 truck. Yep, the 2 truck there almost missed that on the grass, but just happened to clip the 51. Thankfully, a lot of these drivers that were still out on the track have 1 fast repair remaining, so they'll be able to get out there with almost no damage. But yes, this is really going to shake up the field here at our NASRA Clash.
On board with the 2. Ugh. Right at the very end, thought he got through it. Under caution for the first time. Pit road is a busy place. Derek Kilgore is going to get back on the lead lap, it looks like. So that'll save him, our pole sitter. And now, you can't make it to the end on fuel from this point. You're going to be just short, even if you can save and you get a couple cautions. So you're going to have to pit again here before we get to the end of this deal, because we're on lap 19 now. The fuel window is 23 to 25 laps.
And that's going to be a fascinating strategy call for the rest of these drivers. I thought that this caution came out just late enough where you'd be able to make it on fuel after coming down pit road this time, but that's going to make things even more exciting as we go later into the night. Looks like Hammond's going to inherit the lead with Bradley, Branchard, Cinnamon, Morales, your top 5 right now. Norbert, the first car outside the top 5, but this is really just going to re-rack these cars like we're starting again from lap 1, and we're going to still have that fuel stop in here, Jacob. So there's still going to be just another battle again. We'll probably see 2 plaques split up again here, and find a way to try to navigate this Daytona International Speedway without getting caught up in another big one. And looking at the replays, there was also a little bit of unfortunate, looks like possibly a little bit of netcode issues that led to the car getting turned there. But hey, that's iRacing sometimes, is maybe you don't make contact.
Look at this. People coming down on the pit road to try and top off that might be trying to stretch it if we get the yellows to help them out. That includes Bradley, Newbert, couple more on pit road. Chris Cinnamon, Jason Morales, about maybe half the field coming in, maybe a little less than half, coming in at the 1 to green, while Tim Hammond stays out. He pitted during one of the crashes that did not bring out the caution. So he didn't pit under this caution. He's your race leader. He definitely won't be able to make it on fuel. Pitted 6 laps ago. Christopher Blanchard, the first one off pit road as of now. And then it's Raul Meza, Jeffrey Sickles, and Huck Wigington. Your top 5 as the field's lined up on the back straightaway, getting ready to go back to green.
And that's something that we don't see very often here, Jacob, is a 50-lap sprint at Daytona turning into a fuel mileage race. So really kind of fascinating to see some of those drivers come down with the 1 to go. As you can see, the lights on the pace truck are out. So we're going to go back to racing here, but come in, try to top off on fuel, and maybe try to stretch this thing all the way to the end.
The drivers do have one faster fare. Drivers that have used theirs: Tim Hammond, your race leader; Jonathan Munda in 8th; Lucas Whitehead in 10th; Justin Lumpkin in 13th; Matt Rudder in 15th; Adam Newbert in 19th; Brian Abbott, Jose Luis Rivera, Ted Wade, Derek Kilgore, as well as Tony Smith, Keith Haney, Torrey Thompson. Green flag. Everybody gets back up to speed. It takes about a full lap for these trucks to get up to full speed and full song. They get close as they come down the back straightaway, but realistically, takes them about a full lap till they get back up to speed. The engines are rolling and everything's working out. Hammond leading that inside line. Blanchard leading the top side.
Yeah, Hammond getting a big push from the 37 truck down into turn 3 here. The bump draft isn't quite as effective here with these trucks as it would possibly be with the next-gen cars or the Xfinity cars. You got to be really, really careful not to lift up the rear tires of the car in front of you if you're going to be bumping, like as we just saw there. A little bit of looseness there from Hammond in the 93 truck as we come back across the line for lap 21.
Side by side for that lead. The inside line not very organized, but they're making it work as Tim Hammond continues to lead on that bottom side. He is clear, and he's going to come up to block that 19 off 2.
Throws the block and kind of has possibly a spotter in his ear saying, hey, the top line is the way to go right now, as he's getting a big arrow push down the backstretch into 3 from the 19 truck of Blanchard there. And they're going to drive down to the bottom again and kind of form a little bit of a tandem here. And these 2 cars are kind of pulling away a little bit, but you got to imagine the rest of the pack, once they get formed up, are going to catch back to our 2 leaders.
3 laps away from halfway here at Daytona in the clash. Tim Hammond continues to lead the field around. Blanchard in second. Here comes Meza to the outside. Takes the second spot, or looking to take that second spot away.
It's going to be side by side with Blanchard and Meza for that second spot right now, and I'm interested to see if Meza will try to find a way to sneak his way down to that bottom line, although we can see now from this onboard view with James Haney as that bottom line is starting to push a little bit. It wasn't quite formed up on the restart, but now both these lines have kind of figured themselves out and are trying to make the push all the way up to the front.
That bottom side prevails through 3 and 4, and Hammond will continue to lead them off the corner. Got the 22 of Jeffrey Sickles trying to maybe peek around that 37, but he stays in line with them. Top 2 on the bottom are almost clear. Blanchard just not quite clear, and now here comes Meza on the outside.
Meza on the outside, and there's a little bit of a gap between 3rd and 4th place. I'm interested to see if Meza will stay on the top side here and try to lead that pack, or try to stick in here as we see everybody kind of jostling for position down the backstretch, trying to figure out where they're going to go. And so hard to see the truck in front of you and see where the line is really going without a sponsor now. But we continue to see the 93 and the 19 linked up here and making a push away from the rest of this pack.
Off the corner, Tim Hammond continues to lead them around. 1 lap to halfway this time by. Remember, the top 3 positions at the end of this deal get paid out in cash. So Money on the line for the top three. Here comes Mesa around the outside, looking for the lead again.
Yeah, it seems like he gets a run coming through the tri-oval every single time, Jacob, but just not able to make it stick through the corner and down the back stretches. Well, it's interesting to see all these drivers kind of jostling for position every time we get down to the backstretch. And then again, the 93 and the 19 just continue to link up and push away from the 37 truck of Mesa.
It's like that outside line just can get to second, but they can't break the draft. They can't find a way to get alongside for the race lead and eventually pass that race lead, even though the inside isn't quite as cordial with each other. There's pretty much always a gap between Blanchard and Wigington down on the bottom in that orange 00 truck.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising. You don't normally see that. I don't know if it's just that there's not enough continuity in the top line right now to make that push, because if you remember a few laps ago, that's how the 93 truck of Hammond got to the lead, was he got out in front in that top line and then just moved down. And ever since he moved down, that bottom line has just been the line to stick with, at least for the time being, Jacob.
Here comes that 37 alongside for a moment, but now he falls back. Once again, that 22 just can't stay glued to that back bumper of the 37 as they come up off the corner. We're past halfway, and that means from this point on, you pit and you can make it to the checkered flag on fuel.
Yeah, right now it's 23, 24, 25 laps is the fuel window, so it's going to be kind of fascinating to see if the guys that pitted with 1 to go can possibly find a way to stretch this fuel mileage all the way out to the end of this race. I don't think they can, Jacob. I really don't. So I think everybody we're going to see come down pit road at least one more time. I don't think we're going to see anybody take tires. They do have 2 sets of tires, but I don't think we'll see anybody take tires, because that's just going to lose you way too much time on the racetrack, and you might lose the draft pack if you choose to do that as well.
You also have to keep in mind we do have 2 green-white checkers if we need to use them. So there's also the potential that we get overtime and have to go beyond the scheduled distance. So these guys may wait a couple more laps before they decide to pull the trigger and make their final pit stops of the night. Tim Hammond continues to lead. That outside line has really fallen back. It's now being led by the 88 of Lucas Whitehead, who jumped up in front of Raul Meza, and he's going to lead that top side as they try to get around the lap car, the 26 of Cody Knott.
Yeah, Cody Knott hopefully tries to find a way back into this pack and doesn't lead to another incident like we saw earlier when lap traffic became a factor. But yeah, what a move by the 88 truck there, just moving up in front of the 37 of Lusa, takes that top spot on the high side, and now he's looking to make a push up to the front. But again, I don't think that top line is organized as much as the bottom line is to be able to make that push all the way up to the front. Like you said earlier, Jacob, they seem to get to second place and then kind of stall out. But look at this, coming down into turn 1, the 88 truck surging ahead of the pack.
Too many pink cars, by the way. That was Keith Haney that the field lapped, not Cody Knott. But here comes Lucas Whitehead round the outside. That 37, he's one heck of a pusher now, as here they come. The 88 comes down to the bottom to block, and he will take the lead.
Again, we see another truck use the top line to get down in front of the leaders in the bottom line, and then they're going to hold on to the lead, I think, for a few laps here. And that was a great point that you made earlier, Jacob, about the 2 green-white checkers. Is, yeah, even though you're good for fuel at this point, you might want to save some of those tires for later in the race, as we see the 24 truck down here on the apron. Not sure if he's having an issue or if he just tried to get out of the draft pack there, the 24 truck of Zach Hartwick. So we'll see if he's going to be able to get back to this draft pack. You definitely want a yellow right now if you're the 24 truck.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He just pulled out a line down the back straightaway and slowed down a good bit, let everybody go, and now he's getting back up to speed, and he is rolling. So interesting to see what happened to that 24. Got another one on the apron right now down the back straightaway. That looks like it was Munda, and it is. So that 15 will free fall through the field, perhaps trying to save some fuel, but Whitehead continues to lead off the corner. 20 laps to go this time by here in the clash. Tim Hammond now up on the outside of the racetrack, though, not giving up for the lead.
No, and he's not, and he used this move to the outside earlier to his advantage, and as you mentioned earlier, that 37 truck of Mesa has done an excellent job pushing whoever he has in front of him up to the lead of this race, but then they seem to kind of drop down to the bottom line and hang him out to dry a little bit. I know we've had the fast repair, but it almost makes you wonder if the 37 truck of Mesa maybe has a little bit of front end damage, and that's why he's not able to push his way up to the front when he gets into the lead of that top line.
Here comes Hammond to the bottom. He retakes the lead. And you got to remember that 93, he will definitely not be able to make it to the end on fuel. So we will see him pit before this race is over, whether it's under green or under caution flag. We got a couple takers. Here we go. Yeah. Here comes the 19. Couple more in there, the 11, the 42, the 81.
And I think that's a smart move. Well. If you're in the back of the pack and you see some of those guys drop down on pit road, it's such a smart move to get out and pit with these guys. So when you come out of pit road, you have a few trucks with you while you're getting back up to speed. Form a little draft pack of your own and just hope that you cycle out to the lead.
So the 37 now out in front in Mesa. Now he drops to the bottom. And will cover the lead. As the field comes off of 4. No more takers, at least at the front of the field this time for pit road. At 22 now, Jeffrey Sickles trying to lead the outside line. He's got some help. Brady LaBeouf, who spun earlier on, remember. He's now second in line on the outside line, and he wants to go.
That 9 truck of Brady LaBeouf really benefited from the caution now as Hammond steps out of line on the bottom. He's going to leave Luza to his own devices and make a move back up to the front. And we've seen Hammond do this so many times. Pop out to that high line, get in front of the leader on the low line, and drop back down. We'll see as he does it again coming into turn 3 here. But he's not quite clear of the 37. As a little bit of contact there from the 88 got the 37 a little bit swirly heading down into turn 3. And now we're going to see a side-by-side battle here from the lead coming back with 17 to go this time by.
Nobody pits once again. Hammond continues to lead the way as they bring it back around. And you got to wonder how long these guys want to risk staying out on the racetrack before they make their final stops.
And it's really just such a delicate balancing act here, making that pit road decision, because if you're the lead truck and you go and nobody goes with you, that's race over. So you almost kind of got to be watching your mirrors, not only for the car behind you trying to block, but you got to see if anybody else is going to take pit road with you at the same time. Although I can only imagine these drivers are communicating over voice chat, trying to think of a perfect time to pit, but you also don't want to show your hand too early and jump out of line and then you're by yourself, as we see one truck pitting now, and that's going to be unfortunate for him because nobody came with him. So he's going to get back up to speed on his own, not be able to catch up to the draft pack. That's the 13 truck there now on pit road. And yeah, that's if you pit by yourself, that's almost race over for you, Jacob.
To be fair, McKinnon is 5 laps down in 34th place pitting from the lead pack. So nothing really lost there on that 13 other than perhaps the lead draft. There is a car 4 laps down in front of him in Torrey Thompson, so he wouldn't get the free pass anyway. As Hammond continues to lead him around through 3 and 4. Up off the corner, we'll see if anybody decides to pull the trigger. Doesn't quite look like it. Looks like one truck will pull out of line. That's Torrey Thompson. Everybody else stays on the racetrack. 15 laps to go.
15 laps to go, and Hammond moving back and forth, trying to block off both lanes. He saw the run that the 22 truck was getting. That's Sickles there in the 22 truck. He saw the run that he was getting and tried to shut the door on him, but wasn't able to. So now it's going to be too wide again coming through turn 2 down onto the backstretch here. And I almost thought that I saw another truck trying to pop out and maybe form a third line. And that's where you kind of start to see that third line trying to form here, is maybe 10 laps ago. You got to start making a move if you want to make your way up to the front.
Here they come off 4, coming to 14 to go. Oh man, that inside line started to wash up, but everybody stays on the track as they come back to the stripe.
able to make that bottom line work. It's a little bit more formed up right now, and the pushing extraordinaire in the 37 truck of Mesa just continues to push him up to the lead. And if Mesa doesn't win this race, I think he's going to have dinner bought for him by the winner, because he's just done such a great job if he's in the P2 position, each line that he's in, of just pushing the leader to the lead, as we see possibly, again, some trucks trying to step out and make a third line, but nobody seems to be trying to go with them and make it 3 wide so far, with coming to 13 laps to go this time by.
Maybe a little too early to try and make a third line, considering they're not going to be able to make it to the end as they come up off the corner. That 22 trying to pinch down to the leaders a little bit. Here comes the third line as Keith Bradley pulls out of line. He's got some help, and now here we go. Business picking up with 13 laps to go at Daytona. Here comes that 29 to Keith Bradley.
And such a huge run he got on the outside here, but Daytona is always a little bit hairy to go 3 wide, as now we do have a definite 3 lines here fighting for the race lead. Not as wide as Talladega, and now we're coming up on lap traffic, so this is going to be very interesting indeed to see how this works out, Jacob.
Here we go. That lap car is the 13 of McKinnon. As here comes the 22 of Sickles to take the lead. That 13 is going to stay on the bottom. That bottom side has to check up. The 88 goes to the top. They're going to go 4 wide. This isn't going to work. Hammond to the inside of the lap car. Somehow they hang on through the trial. Now there they go. There goes Hammond. There goes another car sliding through the grass. It's James D. Morris, and the caution flag is out. A bad decision by Hammond costs him the track position, but it brings out the caution flag. Now everybody's going to be able to make it to the end, and somehow Hammond kept it off the inside wall.
Yeah, really good job by Hammond there to lock his truck down and stay with minimal damage. He's going to drop him probably all the way to the back, but that really kind of ends the discussion of fuel mileage here for this race, as now a caution comes out with about 10 laps to go. I would assume that we'll see everybody coming down pit road and filling full of Sunoco race fuel, and then we're going to have about an 8-lap shootout to the end, Jacob. Should be amazing to watch here tonight from Daytona.
I don't know where Hammond was going.
I really don't either.
I mean,
I think he was just trying. Yeah, I give him that, but I think he was just trying to avoid lap traffic and then got kind of caught in no man's land there.
Got to lift. If you're in that spot, you're picked. You got to lift. I'm not sure if going beneath that WL line's legal in this series, but it didn't work out either way. Almost got the end of the wall, and there you see the 43 or 47 getting kicked up into the air with the contact. A little damage for him.
From that angle, it doesn't even really look like it was Hammond's fault there, as yeah, you're just riding that yellow line. Not sure about the legality of that, but it looks like he was just trying to stay low, and then something happened to the top side here. Yeah, it looks like the 13 got into the 47 there, and then Hammond was just an unfortunate victim of that.
Well, the 13 got into the 47 because the 13 couldn't have the bottom because the 13 was under him.
Yeah, yeah,
that's why that happened.
Too. Right.
Oh. Little beef going on. Morris not quite happy with Hammond being too aggressive. Gives him the good old how do you do.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting there. Yeah, you're right. Really didn't give much room to anybody racing there, but at the same time, coming down about 12 laps to go there. I know you're frustrated, but that's something you don't see every day.
Pit road is open, and everybody's coming. The money stop. Now with 10 laps to go when they cross the stripe.
And I don't know here if you decide maybe possibly to take 2 tires, maybe give yourself a little bit of a tire advantage here. I don't know if that pays enough dividends and how long it would take to fill up with Sunoco race fuel to make it to the end. And I don't know if 2 tires is a free stop here, but if I was someone towards the back of the pack, you got nothing to lose, I might think about taking 2 tires and see if 2 fresh tires gives really any advantage to you as we come down to about 8 laps to go on this restart.
Well, prime example, Jeffrey Sickles was the leader when they came onto pit road. He comes out in 19th. Now, we did have 7 drivers stay out under this 6 drivers stay out under this caution flag, so that's part of it. But still, Sickles drops all the way back to 19th. He took 4. So did Jason Morales and Keith Bradley. Everybody else that came onto pit road, including those in front of him that pitted under green, they all took fuel only. Couple maybe took 2 tires, including Lumpkin and Jose Luis Rivera. Tim Hammond is on pit road. He is currently being scored as your race leader, but that'll be fixed here in a moment. And Blanchard will take over as your race leader. Then it'll be Osborne, Peacock, Kilgore, Doucette, Munda. They all stayed out under the caution because they pitted before it under green. So that's why they're up at the front. Brady LaBeouf, the first one off of pit road on this stop.
Yeah, I think he's going to shake out to be around in the 7th position, but a plethora of strategies for all these drivers that went to pit road. And you got to think the crew chiefs up on the box are thinking, is this going to be the last yellow we see of the night? We saw the 3-wide racing coming through the tri-oval, and that's what led to our incident here that brought out the yellow flag. And I don't think we're done seeing yellow flags for the night, Jacob. It's going to get hairy here with about 8 laps to go when we go green. And the lights on the pace truck are out, so it's going to be 8 to go when we come back to the green flag. But you got to kind of think ahead. Are we going to have overtime? Are we going to go green all the way to the end? I don't think so.
Well, here we go. You got people dropping to the rear of the field. One of them in particular, it's McKinnon in that 13 as everybody doubles up, gets ready for the restart. We're going to have 8 laps to go on this restart to try and win the clash. Again, 2 overtimes if we need them. Here from Daytona at the NRE Power Systems Clash, as Christopher Blanchard tries to win this race in that 19 machine. He's got Ed Osborne on the outside. Last year's winner, Adam Newbert, in 13th. The reigning champ, Chris Cinnamon, he's back in 27th. Make that 22nd. I can read. So
what a unique race we've had so far. Is pace truck's going to dive off here, but we've gone from a fuel mileage race to a caution coming out with a few laps to go here, and now we're just going to have a good old-fashioned shootout, Jacob.
Pace truck is into the restart zone they go. Green flag, 8 laps to settle it here from Daytona. Blanchard will lead him off into turn number 1. Ed Osborne on the outside looking for some help from the pole sitter in Derek Kilgore. They race to 1. At 81, Taylor Peacock trying to peek out of line there on the bottom, but now no room. Here comes the 42 around the outside. It's Ed Osborne looking for the lead. Two cars side by side all the way through this pack. No third line yet as they come off 4.
Yeah, and we've seen all night long that top line making the push to the front and then dropping down in front of the low line. I don't know if we'll see that again from the 42 or if he's going to stick with the 11, but give a call to Brady LaBeouf in that 9 truck. He spun earlier in this race, was able to work his way back through the field with a combination of cautions and good pit strategy, and now he finds himself in a position riding right now in the 7th position to make a move possibly to win this clash here tonight, presented by NRE Power Sports.
Down the back straightaway, 6.5 laps to go. Blanchard continues to lead. One car peeks out of line, trying to make a third line. It's Keith Bradley. Doesn't get much help, but now here comes the help. Newbert to the outside. Trouble in the back. Cars into the wall. The 2, Ted Wade, the 99. He gets hit by the 94 of Eric Zimmerman. Painter involved in this one. The 51 of Tony Smith. Caution flag is out. Trouble in the back of the field. Ted Wade had to check up. And then, he got popped up and into the outside wall. This is an interesting looking wreck. We'll get a replay. Here it is. It is check up, and it looks like it started with the 55 of James Haney that got bottled up and then pushed up into the 2 of Ted Wade, turned him around. Actually, that's the 47 James D. Morris, who then got the 2. And a whole lot more.
The 17 got down on the apron there as well, and that definitely does not help things. It's such a violent transition from the 31 degrees of banking to the apron that once you touch that, your truck just springs across up the racetrack and kind of got in front of the field there. Everybody had to check up, and there's just really nowhere to go. But kind of interesting, Jacob. We're used to seeing the wrecks up at the front, but this was towards the back of the pack. Everybody fighting back here, trying to make positions as much as they can for this clash, and just some guys getting together and nowhere to go for the rest of the trucks.
Well, and they were stacking up through the field. I saw when that 29 of Keith Bradley pulled out of line. When he got to turn 3, he had somebody right up in front of him pull up. So he was facing the pressure toward the front of the pack as well. We're going to get a restart with 3 to go at best. So not a lot of time for these guys to set up moves.
And if I'm the 19 of Blanchard, the only thing that I'm looking forward to with this 3-lap restart is the white flag, because if the white flag comes out, we're going to race green all the way back to the line. So really, if you're Blanchard, you're just hoping against hope that these guys don't stack it up again. You can stay out in front and you take that white flag. But how many times have we seen a last lap pass for the win here at Daytona, especially with plate racing? It's just the name of the game here is when all these trucks get stacked together, we're going to see some daring moves for the front, especially with cash on the line for our top 3 finishers, Jacob. So it should be an exciting sprint to the end of the race here tonight at Daytona.
Under, I believe, our 3rd caution flag of the night. Late in the going here in the clash. Christopher Blanchard, I believe, has led the most laps in that 19. Led some laps early on. And now here he is leading at the end when it matters most. He'll have Osborne, Peacock, Kilgore, Doucette, his top 5. And then Munda, LaBeouf, Bradley, Rivera, Whitehead, the top 10. When we get the restart, we should get 1 to green here, I believe, this time by. Michael McKinnon has parked the truck, rather. He's done for the night. Torrey Thompson is torn up. He's 7 laps behind McKinnon, 15 behind the field, and he's just chilling in the pit box right now. Don't expect him to get rolling anytime soon. Lights are out on the pace truck, so we will indeed have 3 laps to the finish unless we have to go to overtime. And if we do, then we'll rack them up, try it again. We only get 2 attempts at a green and white checker finish if we need them.
I'm interested to see that 29 truck back there, that bright yellow truck. If you're watching the broadcast here at home, that's the 29 there. He's been the one so far, Jacob, to try to push the issue and make a 3rd line here on the racetrack. And you got to expect coming to 4 to go here. It's going to be 3 to go once we get to the stripe. And I think he's the one to watch out for. He's sitting in around P8 right now, but I think he's going to be the guy that steps out of line, tries to form that 3rd line. It's just a matter of how early he's going to try to do it.
Got a pick here to win this race?
If he can make that outside line work, we remember before the caution came out that led us to this kind of kerfuffle we're having so far coming back to the line here. I think the 29 is the one to watch for if he's able to make that 3rd line work, and it's going to be something to watch for if anybody who's in front of him here kind of tries to step out and kind of close off that run. And you almost have to, but it's so tight here on Daytona, and you don't really want to make any moves that wad up the field. But hey, it's kind of anybody's game, and the gloves are off here with the pace truck pulling off.
3 laps to settle it here from Daytona. Green flag in the air. The NRE Power Systems clash has 3 to go. How about that 29, Keith Bradley? He pulls down to the bottom of the racetrack on the initial start, going down into turn number 1. It's all Blanchard leading. That 42 of Ed Osborne. He has fallen back. He's to fourth. He's to fifth in that outside line. He does not have the help that he needs. Maybe it's coming.
Well, all these trucks are shuffling back behind.
Oh, there we go. There goes the 16. Doucette turn into the wall. Bunch of cars flying through the air. The 29, the 88, the 15 hard into the wall. The big one in turn number 3. One truck flying through the air. The 26 of Cody Knott. The 4 of Adam Newbert involved in this one. The 93, Tim Hammond gets a piece. The 88 of Lucas Whitehead. Jonathan Munda, Jose Luis Rivera involved in this one. Your pole sitter in Derek Kilgore, James Haney in the 55, and many more littered in the bottom of turn number 3 and turn number 4. And we're going to overtime in the NRE Power Systems Clash.
And there's just so much movement behind our leaders, everybody jostling for position as much as they possibly could. And this is just Daytona when it gets down to crunch time and that pay window is open. As you see, guys, I think it was almost 4 wide there for a second, Jacob, and it just led to a massive stack up.
That was big. No doubt about it. The biggest crash we've had tonight. And here's another angle. You just see a little too tight with LaBeouf trying to go up the middle, and then he makes contact again. He spins. A lot of cars popping up into the air. Oh, and there you see what happened to the 26 of Cody Knott. Got absolutely pile driven by Ed Osborne. And a lot of these guys involved in the crash, if they haven't used it yet, they're going to be using their faster pairs right now.
Yeah, we're trying to talk about all the cars that were involved in the wreck. It's almost easier to say who wasn't involved in the wreck. It looks like almost every single truck in the field, except for 2 cars at the front of the pack, made it through that with some kind of damage, Jacob. So really, if you're those 2 trucks up at the front that made it through this unscathed, I think at this point it's your race to lose, especially if we have drivers who've used their fast prepares already.
Here's an onboard. Oof. Nowhere to go. Popping up into the air. That's the onboard, I believe, with Newbert. That 4 truck who won it, yep, a season ago. And he's going to find himself on pit road right now. He's already used his fast repair, so... In fact, out of everybody in the field right now, let's go through who hasn't used their fast repair yet. The top 3, Blanchard, Peacock, and Cinnamon. Zach Hartwick in 22nd, and that's it. 4 trucks have yet to use their fast repair tonight.
Yeah, and it looks like we only have about 12 to 15 trucks on the racetrack right now, but look who managed to make his way through all of this carnage and up to the front. The 5 truck of Chris Cinnamon, you mentioned at the top of our broadcast, Jacob, his 1 win last season came at Daytona, and now he finds himself in prime position. He's going to be second on the bottom. You got to think that he's going to be trying to make a move all the way up to the front. And he's been here before. He's won at Daytona. So he's got a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of strategy probably in that 3 truck to try to make a push for the win here.
Should get 1 to green here this time by. And send us to overtime. We have 1 more attempt if we can't make it through this one. And a reminder, we're back in 2 weeks here from Daytona for race 1 on the season. Coverage begins same time, 9 o'clock Eastern. Kenneth Bueno will be here in the lead chair with Ian Fisher still here alongside, and that color commentary spot. Zach Johnson will produce the entire season from here all the way to the end in December, right here on Racecraft TV.
And a big shout out again to NRE Power for sponsoring tonight's race, able to help bring all the great shots we've seen so far on Racecraft TV back here to the fans. and it's going to be an excellent run here to the finish with the first of our 2 possible overtimes that we can take. What do you think, Jacob? Do you think we're going to get through this overtime clean, or are we going to see the second overtime?
I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we're done seeing overtime just yet here from Daytona, especially when there's cash on the line for the top 3 positions. It just kind of brings out the white knuckles in a lot of our racers here. So Pace Truck's gonna peel off this time, and we're gonna go back to racing for our first overtime session.
Here they come. Pace Truck will pull in. Two laps to settle it in the NRE Power System Clash at Daytona. Overtime in the clash.
19 truck there gets a great jump off the start, but that's just going to kind of single him out from the pack, and Cinnamon there is going to try to follow him through. He's going to be up to P2 and be able to clear Peacock there in the 81 truck.
Here they come through turn 1. Trouble in the back. Trouble into the wall. The 16. We're still green. They're still wrecking in turn 1. Jason Morales involved. Still no caution. Now the caution's out.
Yeah, with the one coming back up the racetrack there, you got to throw the yellow. I can understand trying to keep it going and stay green as long as you can. But yeah, that was... He's a little high-sided there on the banking. Wonder if he's going to be able to get it going. Yeah, there he goes.
All right, well, we'll do it again. It's a replay. A little late, but here you see the end result. Now we're a little early. Here we go. Starts further up front. 16, I believe. Yep, and Doucette got hit. And then it's on, and he comes down the racetrack, cleans out the 1 and the 17. And then the 1 couldn't keep it down on the apron and hooks it back up the racetrack. The 99, nowhere to go at the very end.
And you got to feel for the 1 truck of Wigington there. Like, he probably thought that he made it through that and then just got tagged right on the rear quarter panel there, right as he was about to make it through all the carnage.
Perhaps contact with the 16 and the... Oh, started a little further up in front. It was Zimmerman, I think. No, it was Mesa that got turned. And it was on from there. No, that is Zimmerman in that. So, no, Zimmerman does get turned and then leaves. I wonder. Yeah, Zimmerman got disqualified because he hit the incident limit. Same with Tim Hammond. I didn't even notice that Hammond was gone. Yeah, he's been DQ'd for hitting the incident limit. Same with Eric Zimmerman. So, they're done.
Well, rack them up and we'll try this again.
Yep.
Looks like a few trucks decided to go down there to pit road. Don't know if they were getting repairs or maybe taking a fresh set of tires if they still had one remaining.
Probably just getting them fixed.
I mean, really, if you're at the back of the pack with 3 to go, tires aren't really going to help you all that much, but you got nothing to lose, so might as well come down, get 4 fresh Goodyears on there and see if it does anything for you. Maybe try to pick up as many positions as you can, but this not being a points-paying race, you're really just looking for the win and the cash that comes with it. You know, just kind of unfortunate there if you get caught in that, and your night is essentially over, but still got to finish the race if that's what your goal is.
Still got another lap and a half till we get the green flag. Let's take a look at the schedule here for what's yet to come. Daytona in 2 weeks, then Homestead, Martinsville, Nashville Superspeedway into the month of August. Sonoma, Talladega, Darlington, then a couple of weeks off. And we come back September 9th at Eldora, Indianapolis, Hickory, Pocono, and Talladega, Rockingham, Charlotte. Then the playoffs begin at Michigan, all the way through Circuit of the Americas, Kansas. We return to Daytona, and then the last two races of the season after having off for Thanksgiving, Bristol and Las Vegas.
I love the decision of putting Michigan in there as the first race of the playoffs, although me being a Michigan resident myself, I have to say I'm a little bit biased there, Jacob, but interesting schedule. We have an eclectic mix of all types of tracks we have here on the iRacing surface, from the dirt track of Eldora, the tight and technical road course at Sonoma. A really good job by the staff here at NASRA to put together an exciting schedule for us to watch all season long here on Racecraft TV.
Our last attempt at a green-white checker. If they cannot make it back to the white flag, the race will end under caution, because they're not using admin yellows, they're using in-sim yellows. So if they crash big enough before they get to the white flag, iRacing will throw the caution, and this race will be over. If they make it to the white flag, though, they won't throw the caution, and we will race it out to the checkered flag. So they just got to make it back to the white. If they tear it up before then, this race will likely end under caution if it's big enough to cause a caution to begin with. Christopher Blanchard, Chris Cinnamon on the front row. Then it's Matt Rudder, Taylor Peacock, Tyler Dittner, Brady LaBeouf, Keith Bradley, Tony Smith is up there still, Huck Wigington, and Zach Hartwick is your top 10. Here we go. 15 cars in the lead pack. Who's gonna get it done? Green flag in the NRE Power Systems Clash at Daytona, the last restart.
And again, the 19 of Blanchard.
At 33 didn't get going at all of Rudder. He drops to the bottom. He lost 4 or 5 spots, and it's single file all the way through, coming off turn number 2. That 3 now needs to figure out a place in line. In Chris Cinnamon, as they come down the back straightaway, they're getting closer and closer to full song. Here we go.
Yeah, and Blanchard just got such a great launch on the restart, kind of left Cinnamon in the dust there. Now he's kind of scrambling to find a draft partner, and he has it in the 29 truck there. If he's going to be able to get to the front, now's the time that you got to make the move, because you never know when that yellow flag's going to come out.
Here they come off 4. Oh, Cinnamon got a little squirrely. He's able to hang on to the start-finish line. Will they make it? Yes. White flag in the wind. 1 more lap to go in the NRE Power Systems Clash here at Daytona. Chris Cinnamon, the defending champ, on the outside. Christopher Blanchard down on the inside. Side by side for the lead. That 19 pokes out in front through 1.
Pokes out in front through 1, but Chris Cinnamon in the 3 truck trying to get as close as he can to that bottom line and get all the side draft he possibly can here. We'll see how good of a push he can get from the 29 truck coming down the backstretch. He's going to have to set himself up either for a last lap move or just try to beat him back to the stripe here coming out of 4.
Trouble in the back. LaBeouf is around. The 51 of Tony Smith got bodied. Here they come off the corner. Side by side, coming to the finish line. Cinnamon on the end, out on the outside. You got Blanchard on the inside. They crash into the wall, into the air. Taylor Peacock wins at Daytona. Upside down goes the 3 of Chris Cinnamon in a horrific crash at the finish. And Taylor Peacock wins the NRE Power Systems Clash at Daytona.
Shades of Ross Chastain at Talladega there. He didn't really do anything or make a move there on the final lap to try to get himself into the lead. Everybody just kind of wrecked in front of him, and he was the one that was the left standing after all of that, and he takes home the checkered flag tonight, Jacob.
I've seen way too many finishes here at Daytona where the leader coming off turn 4 gets hooked 500 feet before the start-finish line, and the guy in second wins. Wow. Taylor Peacock does it. Got to look at the replay there. Coming off 4. Yeah, well, watch him burn it down first. Oh, easy. Don't hit the wall. There we go. Down in the grass. Now let's take a look. Here's the last half a lap. Coming down into turn number 3. And the 51 kind of helped that outside line just because he got bodied. And the inside line had a gap that they needed to fill. But then that 29 of Keith Bradley gets poked out of line. And then a little bit of netco there between the 29 and the 81. And then the 3, just Chris Cinnamon pitches down a little too hard, trying to side draft a bit too much. And winds up turning the 19 into the outside wall. And he goes for a whale of a ride. Upside down, got hit again. Here's the 9 getting turned. That's by the 42, Ed Osborne, into the wall. Oh, and then comes down and collects Sickles. Wouldn't be a finish at Daytona if the field wasn't flying apart behind the race winner. Here's the onboard with Taylor Peacock.
And it looks like Peacock was trying to find a way to make it 3 wide there, and then the seas kind of parted for him, and he's able to take home the checkered flag. And not only does he take home the checkered flag, Jacob, but he also takes home 5 bonus playoff points and some cash tonight. So an excellent night for Taylor Peacock in the 81 truck. You got to imagine he's ecstatic with how things turned out tonight for him at Daytona.
Taylor Peacock, your winner. Huck Wigington finishes in second, sideways nonetheless. Tyler Dittmer finishes third. Matt Rudder in fourth. Christopher Blanchard in fifth. Keith Bradley sixth. Tony Smith in seventh. There we go. Zach Hartwick in eighth. Chris Cinnamon comes across on his roof in ninth. Ed Osborne rounds out the top 10.
Going back to the field in 11th place, Jeffrey Sickles from New Jersey. Jose Luis Rivera in 12th. Cody Knott 13th, Raul Meza 14th, Brady LaBeouf, rough night for him, comes home P15, Dana Shepard P16, Joe 17th, Jason Morales in the 1 truck 18th, James Haney 19th, and Lucas Whitehead in 20th.
Brandon Bullock in 21st, Eric Zimmerman 22nd, Adam Newbert 23rd, 2 laps down. Really, everybody from Morales on back finished multiple laps down, and Newbert 8 down, Derek Kilgore 25th, and Haney, Abbott, Lumpkin, Munda, Hammond, who got disqualified for hitting the incident limit. And then your final 4, James D. Morris, Ted Wade, Michael McKinnon, and Torrey Thompson round out our field of 34 here tonight from Daytona. Let's talk with our race winner. Taylor Peacock, winner of the Clash. What a wild last couple of laps. Take us through them.
Oh man, what a race. I was content pushing Chris, my teammate, to the win there, and then I think other Chris just come down just a little bit, just trying to side draft just a little bit, and they end up, I don't know, the waves just, everything cleared up for me, and there was the win. Kind of got gifted to me, it seems like.
You were able to keep that 81 truck clean pretty much all night long, though, and that certainly looked like it helped getting you in the right place at the right time at the end.
Oh, yeah. I knew it was going to be pretty crazy at the start. I was fearing, so I just wanted to take it easy. Just get through there. We made a great pit call. We short pitted there with 20 to go, and everybody else had stayed out still, and then the caution came out. It put us right up front where we wanted to be, and we didn't look back.
Nonetheless, congratulations on the win. A little bit richer tonight. We don't know how much, but cash coming away with the win here. Nonetheless, great job. Congratulations on winning the Clash.
Thank you, buddy. I'd like to give a shout out to Brady LaBeouf. This league that he throws on is awesome. Got really competitive guys. Racecraft. I am glad to have. I had the first win when Racecraft started doing NASRA, and I got the first win when they came back. I'm glad to have Racecraft back. I seem to do better when they are broadcasting. And my teammates, Chris, Joey, and Ed there, we worked great together. I'm looking for Daytona in a couple weeks.
Taylor Peacock Taylor
you.
Peacock, your winner tonight. Thanks, Taylor. Now let's talk with second place, Huck Wingington, with Ian Fisher.
How you doing, Ian?
Well, good, Huck. How are you, man? And congratulations on your P2 finish tonight. And just tell us a little bit what you saw out of your windshield coming down to out of turn 4 there to the checkered flag. What did it look like from your point of view?
A bunch of trucks in front of me, all different directions. It was pretty fun. That's kind of how I figured it would end. It's the Clash. That's kind of what the guys were going to do up front anyway. It was nice.
Yeah, it was nice enough for you because you came away with P2. That's going to net you, I believe it's 4 bonus points, and then going home with a little bit of cash later tonight as well. And talk about those 4 playoff points. What kind of advantage does that give you, and what kind of mindset does that give you going into the rest of the season?
This is really my first full season with these guys, and I found out real quick through the midway of the first season that they're extremely good. So 4 points is huge, because it could come down to 1 point there at the end of this season.
Yeah, and good run from you tonight. It was good enough for P2 here. We're watching shots of your beautiful 00 truck coming around the turn 4 here, coming to the start-finish line. Anybody that you want to shout out tonight that helps you get it done and was able to help you get to that P2 tonight?
My sponsor, Starbase Comics, 1552. They're out of Franklin. A really good group of guys. I've known Judd, the owner, for a while, and he came on. We were just chatting, and he was thrilled to death to do it. And I had a spotter today, Dan Cates, and he kind of helped me out a little bit. I'm a little shaky when it comes to the administrative part of this, so he was helping me out with the tires and the quick repair. So it all helped. It was all great.
And it's always good to have somebody in your ear there, especially here at Daytona, talking you through the racetrack. And speaking of racetracks, you're in the Nashville area. Are you heading out to the racetrack this weekend? Catching any of the NASCAR action?
No, not this year. I've been slated to work, so that's fine. I'll catch it a little later on. I've been to quite a few of them. I'll let that pass this year. But it's a real good racetrack, and I'm going to kind of miss it.
Well, hey, you put in some work tonight, and that was good enough for P2 tonight. Thanks for taking the time to come talk with us, Huck.
Hey, thank you guys for broadcasting it.
Hey, dude, we do what we can, and just a great run tonight from Huck Wigington in that beautiful comics truck he was talking about, and really great to see some sponsors coming out and supporting these guys as we go later through the season, Jacob.
Now let's talk with third place, Tyler Dittmer. Where in the world did you come from to finish third tonight?
You know what? I don't have a clue for you, man. I hate super speedways. I've never finished well here, ever. Don't finish well at Talladega either. Finish well everywhere else. So it was a lucky break for us tonight.
I'm not even sure. Did you get collected in any rank? I think there are too many pink cars in the field. And they're all starting to run together. But able to come home with a P3. Was it just right place, right time there at the very end?
Yeah, I had to use the fast repair early on, a wreck on the outside, and it was definitely a lot right place, right time. Just the way things kind of happened there at the end. Being on the outside lane, guys behind me all wrecked out, and as soon as I got clear on the bottom, my goal was to get to the bottom and just hope for the best. And kind of things cleared a path almost, and obviously wrecking across the line, oh well. Kind of turned Huck a little bit, but that was after the stripe, so no hard feelings between him and I.
Well, congratulations on the top 3 finish. Does this momentum help you in any way going into the big race here in a couple of weeks?
They're all different. I mean, the guys who are great here, and the guys who aren't like me just kind of get lucky sometimes. There's no momentum, I don't think. Then they're different races, obviously. This was the sprint to the end. Hopefully we'll get a longer finish, longer finishing run 2 weeks. So obviously 2 weeks off. I don't think it really plays too much.
Well, congratulations on the top 3 and the points, the cash on the line, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to quickly thank Noob Ties Garage, Depth Graphics, NCRC, my team, and then obviously Lizardworks Racing and Luke's Hobbies. It's awesome to have some sponsors on the truck, and it's a pretty badass looking truck. So, and then of course you guys and NASRA for putting this on Triple M Pulling Truck Series. So, appreciate y'all.
Tyler Dittmer, your third place finisher tonight from Daytona. Whew. Wild race tonight. Final thoughts, Ian?
Oh man, it's always a wild race when you come to Daytona, especially if it's a 50-lap sprint to the end like we had here tonight. You know, just great restrictor plate racing all night long. We had a few big ones. We had a last lap kerfuffle all the way to the checkered flag and people flipping and spinning all over the place. And Tyler Peacock comes away with the win, just seemingly out of nowhere. I can't wait to do it all again in 2 weeks again here from Daytona.
That's where we'll be in 2 weeks' time, back here at Daytona for another race, the first points event on the season to kick off season number 5 for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. It is Taylor Peacock, the winner of the NRE Power Systems Clash tonight. On behalf of our producer, Zach Johnson, for Joshua Lee and everybody here at Racecraft TV, my colleague in the booth tonight, Ian Fisher, I'm Jacob Pitts. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks from Daytona once again for the official start of the NASRA season. Till then, good night.